scrappy peeps, it's Adele from Inkie Quill, and I haven't showed my face around here for a while. I was watching some older Inkie Quill videos and I realised I used to do a lot of face-to-face videos and now I don't. So I thought I'd do an updated version of a video that I've done in the past, which is how to pack for a crop or a retreat, some sort of scrappy weekend away. I've changed my ways since my original video, and I've just realised I think I'm wearing a red tartan top, a very similar outfit in my other video. I'll put the link for that down below if you haven't seen that before. But for that retreat, I bought my entire Raskog trolley, which was good. It was handy having everything on the shelves. But for this retreat that I recently went to, I was getting picked up by friends and I didn't want to take too much. And I've kind of worked out what I actually need and what I can get away with not having or borrowing from friends. So if you've never been to a scrapbook retreat, stay tuned because it might give you some ideas. I'm not saying that I'm a minimalist packer at all. Definitely not. I do like to pack a lot of paper and things, but at retreats I often do a lot of different things. Did that sentence even make sense? Huh? I do scrapbooking, I do project life, I do art journaling, I do my traveler's notebook journaling, sometimes I do a junk journal. So I take a lot of different materials because I do so many different types of paper craft, memory keeping, arty things, I guess you could say. Let's have a little closer look. All I took for this one is I can never get it down to just one because I can't fit my album and my junk journal and my art journal all in there at the same time. So I usually just take a container and then my dishwasher's finished, if you can hear that ringing in the background. And then I have this, I bought this, I think it could be, it's from Spotlight here in Australia, and it was expensive, but I got it when they had a $40 off coupon. So I think it was meant to be about $110, which is crazy because it's a bag. And then this is just a container from a cheap shop. So I might bring you closer in so you can see things. If you've got any questions about packing for a crop or any ideas of things that you like to take, let me know in the comment section down below and let's get into it. All right, first let's get into this bad boy, and I'm going to pull everything out bit by bit so that you can see it because there's things hiding in here and under here. But to give you a bit of an idea, this container is probably like a foot by maybe 40 centimeters, so 30 by 40 centimeters or roughly, and it's got nice metal handles. So if you're carrying a container, definitely look for one that's got nice durable handles that aren't going to snap. I often take a little trolley, which I'll show at the end of the video, which I can put this on to make carrying it a bit easier. All right, let's dive into this one. You are balancing very precariously on my coffee table, so we'll see how this angle goes. First of all, all right. On the side, I have, if you watch any of my art journaling videos or even my scrapbooking mixed media videos, you know that I have a use it up journal, which I can't recommend more. It's so handy for using up leftover paint, but it's also just nice to be lazy and make some extra backgrounds for when you're feeling like doing an art journal page. So I just put my extra paint, extra stenciling. So if I've done a stencil on a different book or a different scrapbook page, I just do another copy in here and it gives me a background for next time. And then I go through, I don't know if there's actually any done in here, but I go through like this one and just add little extra bits and pieces to it when I feel like doing some journaling. That's the Dilutions A5, I think it's A5 size creative journal. I also took my current traveler's notebook. I have lots of journal with me videos over here. I think I've got like close to 20 at the moment, 18 possibly. I'm not sure how many you've seen. I've recorded a lot, but I don't know how many you've actually seen yet. And I just take my little journal with me because sometimes I feel like just doing a quick page, and I can get one of these done in 15 minutes or so, and it's just nice to do a project because when you're at a retreat, not only if you've been to them before, you're catching up with friends, but there's just a lot of talking going on in the room, and then usually someone gets excited about something and, you know, everyone laughs, and so it's hard to really concentrate and focus. So that's why I like the Traveler's Notebook, especially for late at night, because I'm a bit of a night owl and I quite often like to stay up until like the AM hours of the morning doing some arty things. Oh, this is still molting. Look at it. Okay, fix that up later. But yeah, it's nice, just a mindless kind of activity to do. I've got my most recent art journal that I'm using. I'm using the Dina Wakley Creative Journal, and there's process videos over here on that, and then other ones that may not have been process videoed, but I will do a flip through of that once it's all finished. And then I always take my messy mat. Now, a lot of people take their thick, like their craft mat with the grid lines on it. That's really handy if you're worried about messing up the desk, the table. So definitely bring one of those if you would like to. I tend to just bring this so that I can put it under my mixed media. Quite often they have plastic tablecloths or paper on the tables anyway, so if you get a little bit inky and you accidentally make a mess, it's usually all right. So I just roll it up and stick it down the side of my albums. Then okay, got my ATG. I love this thing, and a lovely new friend that I met taped it and put the tape in properly, so it actually works. If you watch me struggle with this all the time, I hope I can remember how to put the tape in it just like Michelle did, because it's working really well at the moment. So thanks, Michelle, for that. Then I always take a container for my water. Now, it would be much better to take a plastic one, but all I had handy was a glass one. So definitely don't take a glass one, take a plastic one. But it's just handy so that you don't have to use the mugs or cups that people are drinking out of. It's just nicer to take your own little one. I'll do that up close in a moment. I love stencils. I really love stencils, and so I usually, with my supplies, really pare down with what I actually think I'll use. Stencils are a bit harder because I don't always know what I'm going to use, and so I'd rather sacrifice the space and just take my whole folder of them. It's only, you know, it's reasonably small, and that way I can also make sure that if you can see them, that my stencils stay, you know, not broken or squashed or anything like that. So I just put all of them in here. And then I did something new for this retreat. In the back, which I haven't done before, I slipped in some tissue paper, so just some of the colours that I always go for, which is usually white, pink, polka dot, and so because usually I bring my whole container of tissue paper, and so I thought this might be a bit easier. And I also made these, which I'm really excited about. So this is just a plastic ruler, and this is the Thickers Guide plastic ruler thing, and I just wrapped a whole lot of, it's not going to focus on them, it's just going to focus on me. I just wrapped a whole lot of different washi tapes around there, and it was so handy. And it actually made me use my washi tape. The only ones that I didn't put around here was the gold glitter one, because it wasn't behaving itself, so I just chucked the whole roll in my pencil case. And I have a really, really skinny gold foil one that wasn't also behaving. It's kind of lost its stick, which is frustrating, but that is so very handy. My friend Anita that was there had all different colors on plastic bits of acetate, and she had a ring through them, so she had one all reds, one's all green, one all blue, and I may have stolen some washi tape with her permission because it just looks so inviting and I just wanted to use it. Next up, I took this plastic container, which is a little bit of a mystery container. You know, when you're packing, there's always that item that you just go, put it all in. And this is just a whole bunch of cut out pictures from magazines. There's some printed tissue paper, there's some stickers. It's all collage items for art journaling. And I feel like rather than waste time going through because I don't actually know what pieces I want to use, what pictures and tissue paper and painted papers I actually want to use, I just grabbed a heap, put them in this plastic container and called it good. And that works for me. Plus, it's easier to put away when you get back because you just have to grab it and put it on the shelf with all the collage things. Next up, I'm doing, if you're not familiar with my main channel, Inkie Quill, I do scrapbooking and project life over there. And I am doing a 9x12 album for this year, and I have for the last 2, this is my 3rd year doing that size. And so I took 2 albums with me. Because what I like to do is, let's see if I can find a page that's not done. Here we go. So there we go, out of light. I pre-print my photos and put them into the pocket so that I can just grab it and go. And I had, this is my March album so far. I haven't, don't worry, it's not all full. It might be though, because it's Archie's birthday in March. I haven't printed those photos all yet, but I just find it easier just to bring the whole album. My photos are in there, they're good to go. And then this one, I probably had maybe 20 pages in that album to do. And I'm a really quick scrapbooker. I can whip out, most of my scrapbooking process videos take me between half an hour, 45 minutes to do a layout, and then usually 20 minutes to do a project life page. And so I would prefer to take 2 albums and know that I've got quite a lot of pages to do, rather than only take 1 album and run out. So this one probably had about 10 pages, and I mean, I could have taken them out of here and put them in there, but then it would have been more effort to like post-it note which page goes where, and because Project Life goes in chronological order. So I just bought both albums. So I've got this one, and there's, well, there you go, there's some layouts, there's some all sorts of things. So if you want to see more about those, you can follow my main channel, Inkie Quill, or on Patreon I do a scrapbook album flip through every single month, as well as other videos. Then I wanted to do, I always take paints, and let's do these first. I just grabbed my 2 pencil cases. They're Ranger ones, they're by Ranger, and they're really handy because they fit, the zippers are really nice and chunky on them, so you don't have to worry about them breaking, but they just fit all of my paints in them, and it's how I store them in my craft room. So it's stuck. Oh, of course, I've said it's really good and now it's gonna get stuck. So I just keep them in my craft room like this, and so they're just nice and easy to grab, and then when I come back home I can just chuck them back in there. There's also sponges in there and ink daubers that I use for stenciling as well, so that's those. I was doing some of my design, I'm on a couple of design teams, and so I was doing some for Flutter by Design, so I took the paint that I use, their paint that I use for those projects as well. I also took my beloved Winsor & Newton watercolor palette. It makes me so happy, this palette. My friend got it for me, and the colors are just so beautiful and saturated. The thing is though, if you're packing a watercolor palette that has loose little, what are they called? Half pans or whatever the little colors are called, please put it somewhere where it's not going to tip over. This little thing has tipped over twice before, and it's not fun. It's not fun for anyone that has to pick up all of those and put them right in the same order again. So that's why I usually put it on the bottom of this container, because I know that this isn't going to go sideways. Whereas my bag, sometimes when it gets put in cars or when it's shoved under the desk that I'm working at the retreat, it does go sideways. So always pack that somewhere flat. I grabbed my container of Project Life cards that I'm working on at the moment. These are a little bit of rubbish in there. These are really handy also for my traveler's notebook, and I can also cut them out and use them in my art journal, so they're nice to have. And I've got some tiny letter stickers in there too. That's how they're stored in my craft room, so I can just pick it up, take it, and then put it back where it belongs. And then finally, I just have this little container that sits on the top of my Rascog, and it has bits of wood veneers, some twine, some chipboard bits, resin flowers, acrylic shapes. It has a bit of everything in there, and sometimes it's just nice to have a bit of a texture element to your pages, so I always like to have something chunky with me. So that's that one, and now let's head on to the bag. So here's an up-close look at the bag before I unzip it and show you all the goodies. It has a pocket on both sides. It has lots of pockets actually, and then it opens up. You can pull it down all the way, and this beauty has a lot of stuff in it. So I'll get the camera set up and we'll go through it bit by bit. One thing you should know before I open this bag, if you're new to my channel and you haven't seen my stuff before, I really like embellishments. I love embellishments, and I don't pack lightly when it comes to embellishments, so just keep that in mind. This bad boy has been with me to probably maybe 5 retreats now, and it hasn't shown any wear and tear. There's a lot available on the market, but they are quite pricey. I know you can get cheaper ones at non-craft shops. I used to have one from years ago from Kmart, I think, here in Australia, and it was a bit dodgy though. The wheels broke on that one quite quickly. This bag has 2 side pockets, and in this one I always put my paper trimmer, and I usually change the blade on my paper trimmer before I go, so it saves me bringing another blade, and then when I come home I just keep that other blade in my top drawer, so when this one dies I just put the old one back on until it also dies. So I like to keep that snug in there because I know that that blade isn't going to fall off and it's not going to accidentally cut my finger if I reach my hand into my bag. On the other side it has another long pocket, and I just keep a variety of alphabet stickers. I like my stickers, I do, but lately I've been finding that I only reach for the neutral blacks, whites and golds, and so I try when I go to retreats to just bring my favorites, and then I'll just splash in a kind of a, what's it called when, what's it called when you, it's like the lucky draw card, you know, just a bonus one that may or may not get used, but there's only one of them. So I've got my 2 favorite golds because I do love gold, and then I have a black, and then a couple of, so they're all like 3D foam ones. I've got a few flat alphas. I've got a small one from Project Life. I've got this one which has lots of colours, so if I feel like colour I can dig into this one. And then my bonus one for this time was some word stickers, and I did actually bring another sheet of word stickers that I used up completely, so that was, yeah, winning. It's the small things when you're a crafter or an arter, like finishing a roll of washi tape. Rarely happens. When it does, it feels good. Oh, I'm so lame. So now in this front pocket I like to keep some of my longer stickers, and so in here I've just got some, there's some chipboard ones, and then just your normal crepe paper ones as well. So the longer stickers that take up a bit of room I just slide into here. I have learnt that this front pocket doesn't like to be expanded very much, so if you put anything chunky in there, I used to try and put paper pads in there, no. So it's basically the only thing that I can store, and it's good because it contains the stickers, so they're not going to accidentally get bumped off by something else. Alright. Alright, I should add that in here I also had a power board, because quite often at the retreats they'll have like an extension cord with a power board per table, and then you just hook one off it and a couple of you can share it. I always just prefer to have my own power board, and if I don't use it then I don't use it, but it doesn't matter. Something that I have learnt since my first one, which is very important, I also take an extension cord just in case I'm far away from a power plug. A light. Late at night it's often really hard to see what you're making, and quite often these rooms are lit by like fluoro lights, and it's a bit hard to see like the actual colors that you're working with. I got this little one from Spotlight. I think it was about $40. Might have got it half price though. I think it was meant to be 40, and it just looks like that, and it's oh, there it is. It's USB powered, so you can just plug it into your phone charger for a while, and then it saves up all of the power, and then you can unplug it and just use it as is. So it's really nice. It's easy to store. I just bend it over and put it in my bag, and I'm good to go. Oh, we've got an avalanche. You come out there for a little bit. All right, in the back, hang on, let's get all of these pouches. I'll show you. I love pouches. I'll show you those at the end. In the back here, it's got a strap, which is really handy, and I put a few different things here. I always bring a pack of basil marshmallow cardstock. Rather than just take out individual pieces, I just bring a whole packet. It works well for me, and it doesn't take up too much extra space, I guess. I had 2 design teams that I wanted to do some work on, so I brought some bags with their goodies in them. Then I limited, so excluding the design team stuff, I limited myself to my bag of scraps. It's just a 12 by 12 Ziploc with various bits and pieces in it. 1 12 by 12 paper pad. And then because I am getting a little bit sick of this paper pad. I've been using it for a while. And so I thought I would also just chuck in the Jane Davenport one, which is a little bit more like mixed media-y, so I really love to use it for like collage in my art journal. And it's got a lot of faces and figures in it that I can just cut out and use as an art journal focal point. At this point, while I was doing this, I was also doing my 100-day project, which if you haven't followed that, I've got videos on this channel about it, and I've also got a photo a day on Instagram. My Instagram is Inkie Quill, and I was using these 2 sticker books, which I think is a really handy. Oh, we've gone very bright all of a sudden. They're really handy if you're doing, if you're going to a retreat, because you get so many options for stickers all just in one little booklet. So highly recommend if you're into scrapbooking or traveler's notebooks. They're really handy to take with you. Then, let's go. Baby wipes. Baby wipes are always also handy. I also had paper towel, which I think I left or someone else packed. It's all good. I always take baby wipes and paper towel. They're a must-have to pack. I think I might make a packing checklist, just of things that I have found work for me, and then I'll leave extra spaces and you can fill in yourself depending on what type of crafts you do. And I think I'll put it as a free downloadable to anyone on my Patreon. I'll put the link down in the description below for that. So I always take baby wipes, and then in this top little one I've just got some Distress Oxides, because they seem to be my new favorite background medium, I guess you could say. I've been really enjoying them, and I've only been playing with them for a little while, so I thought I'd take them and be a bit more limited in my supplies and actually have them there. Then I have 2 little bottles of gesso, so I just use the Liquitex brand, and I bought these at a previous retreat that I went to, and they were really handy, and once they're finished I'm just going to fill them up. I have the big 1 litre bottles, so I'll just fill them up. There's a white gesso and a clear gesso, because I like to use both. I've also got my matte gel medium just tucked in down here. And then I bought this ink pad with me, which has 4 different colours. Not that I'd probably use the mushy peas colour, but because it doesn't really go with my style. It's a beautiful colour if you like that colour, but not my cup of tea. But it's good to bring an ink pad that has like a couple of different colour options if you've got it. If you haven't, then just try and limit the number of ink pads that you bring. In this pouch, which is another Ranger one, I have some punches. Now, usually punches are something that I feel like you don't really need to take. However, I had some ideas in mind for some layouts I wanted to make, and I needed my punches. So I just brought my faves. I bought large heart, large circle, small star, and small hearts. So just very basic shapes, and I just chuck them down here. And then right up in this top little pouch, I've just picked some of my favorite background stamps and just tuck them in there because I really like to use those for art journaling. I'm going to move the camera now and show you what's in these pouches and in my little desktop pencil case too. These pouches come in handy all of the time. I used to be a primary school teacher, and so I use them in the classroom for lots of games and the kids' things, which is why there's random names on some of them. But if you can get your hands on these from a local cheap shop, I highly recommend them for going to retreats and also just for storing stuff in your craft room, really. So this one just has all sorts of photos in it. And I like to keep this with me because I use them in my traveler's notebook, and sometimes I also use them in my art journaling or my junk journal. So it's just simply random photos that aren't going in my scrapbook albums, they're just extras. So that one's always good. This is one that I have stolen just straight from my stash. It stays like this in my craft room, and it's got doilies, as you can see. It's got a little bit of craft foam in it and a couple of napkins, and I do love me a good doily, so this is a must-have. Then in this little one, I keep my current month printables from Patreon, from my Inkie Quill Patreon. So these were, I went at the start of May before the May printables were up, so I took April's with me, and they just stay in this little container, and so that I've got them with me and I can do some projects with them. And then in this one, I keep previous month's printables from my Patreon. There's some reads and Project Life cards and all sorts of goodies in there. This one holds tiny word stickers, and I am a bit of a tiny word sticker addict, so rather than just picking out a few of them, I take the whole collection. My favourites are either, I've just stumbled across these new ones from Flutter by Designs. I love the ones from Tim Holtz Ranger, the Small Talk. I like if you can get your hands on these Carpe Diem Simple Stories ones. Citrus Twist also has some lovely tiny word stickers. And I also like to, in here, put some of these, which are really fun. They're the Snap photo flips, and basically what it is it's an extra piece of plastic that you can slip photos in and use in your project life to if you have extra things for that month, so they're really handy to get. Then in this container I keep all of my puffy things or textury things, so I try to limit myself to like 3 or 4 packets of enamel dots. I've got my tiny stars that I love, some rub-ons, some cork shapes, and literally this is all just from one shelf on my Rascog. I have a video over on my Patreon if you're one of those peeps for how I organise my embellishment. I did a bit of an update with how I store my things. Then in this one are just some more chunky packs of embellishments that I just like to keep together. So there's a lot of the Cocoa Vanilla wood veneers in here and some of their ephemera packs. I like to keep them together because I'm on the Cocoa Vanilla design team, so I like to know which collection they came from. And then in these two, these are my Citrus Twist kits. I get the Pocket Life kit, I'm on their DT, and so at the end of every month when I'm finished with making whatever I'm making and the new kit for the next month has arrived, I kind of put the old supplies just in 1 or 2 pouches now, and I'm trying to use them up because they do accumulate quite quickly as the months go by, but they're really handy to grab if you're going to a retreat. I highly recommend bringing, if you are a Kit Club subscription member to any Kit Clubs, bring one with you because you've got everything you need in there. You've got things that all coordinate, so you don't have to go rifling through your stash. Everything in there is the papers, the stickers, the stamps, whatever you've got, it all goes together. So that's what's in there. And finally, this is my little desktop caddy, I guess you could call it. I got this from eBay for $4, and it's actually a handbag organizer. So the idea behind it is that you put your wallet and lipstick and anything you want to keep in your handbag, and you put it all in here, and so that it's easy to change out into a different handbag. I prefer to use it for my art supplies because I basically just have a wallet and a phone, and so I don't need it for that, but it comes in very handy when you're going to crops. So what I like to do is in this one I put my most used, oh I forgot, I didn't show you the lady beetle container. I'll have to show you that one too. I've completely forgot about that. In this one I keep all of my most used pens, so my Staedtler pigment liners. I've also got a Uniball Signo pencil, these new calligraphy pens that I absolutely love. I've got a water brush just because I do, and a food ball pen as well. So they all stay just in there so I know where they are. I take one acrylic block with me just in case there's some stamps in the Kit Club packets that I want to use. In this one I keep all of my tape, and I much prefer to take too much tape. I use a lot of tape anyway, so it's just always handy to have a lot. I've got foam tape and I've got some refills for my ATG. I also keep my scissors in here. I take 2 pairs of scissors because I always manage to lose one. So I always take 2 pairs of scissors, and then glue wise, I've got my hiiiii Shine. You know, I can't live without my gold hiiiii Shine. I take my Scotch tacky glue, and I took some glossy accents because I've been experimenting with that lately. Then just before, I think it was the day before I left for the retreat, I got an order from Flutter by Designs, and I couldn't be bothered to take everything out of the packaging and put it in my stencils because it was already packed and nice and neat, so I just shoved them in here. And then I like to take a spare pouch. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes the Cocoa Vanilla kit that the Cocoa Vanilla retreat that I just went to had an exclusive kit, so I could have put the bits and pieces, stickers and punch outs that we got in there. It's handy to have an extra Ziploc bag or an extra pouch just in case. And then in this section, I'm trying to go around my camera without bumping it. In here I pack my tiny attacher, which I live for. I love this thing. I've got one spatula in case I feel like doing some texture paste. I've got my hole punch because I do use that quite a lot for tags. I also have a stabby skewer because my glue likes to become stuck, so it's probably not the safest thing, but if I bury it right down there, it's all good. I got a glue stick, just a little one, and then this is what I was using for my 100-day project, and I decided, even though I had a black ink pad there, I just like to keep these two together because when I got home, this is what I use. So I just prefer to keep them together so I don't lose them. And then I've also got some Staples refill and a couple of washies that didn't behave themselves and make it onto that washi tape reel. And then I realised I forgot the lady beetle container. I'm so glad that I remembered to show this because this is a crucial part to my packing. This is a Wicked Sister. I think it's a makeup toiletries bag that my nan bought me many years ago. I think I was still a teenager and I'm turning 30 next year. So this has seen a lot of days, but it's really good because it's plastic and so I can wipe anything off it. And this is what I keep my mixed media goodies in. Usually I will pack some mists, like the Dilutions mist or the Tim Holtz ones, and they fit perfectly in here. But I decided to go with the Distress Oxides this time, just to try something a little bit different. I only take 4 paintbrushes with me. This is my lovely big fat one. This one is the one that I use for gesso and matte gel medium. I highly recommend using a different paintbrush for those products because it can mess up your paintbrush. This one's very cluggy and stiff. I'm going to try and clean these, I think, in some fabric softener I've heard, or conditioner. Let me know if you've ever cleaned your paintbrushes and any tips you've got there. I like to take a watercolor style brush and then one skinny brush, so just 4 of them. I've got some packaging if I want to do the packaging technique. I've got this new guy, which I got at a previous retreat, which is really fun. It's just a giant silicone brush, and this was another wild card. Wild card, that was the word I was looking for before. It's a wild card entry, and I may not use it. I may use it, who knows, but it's in here and it's not taking up too much space. In here, I won't go through this, but this is all of my pens that I bought. So I bought a heap of Posca paint pens. I've also got some Tombos in here. I'll show you those because they're hiding. Out you come. Come on. I love the Tombow dual brush markers for brush lettering. I love writing in whiteout as well. So that's where all of those stay. And then on this side, I've just got some of my favorite roller stamps. I really love using these in scrapbooking and also in my traveler's notebook. And then I've got some small containers of whipped spackle, which is a texture paste, so that I don't have to bring my big container. And apparently I have an extra acrylic block. So that's all my things. I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I just realized the window in front of me is casting light glare on my glasses, so I hope that wasn't too bad at the start of the video. But I hope this has given you some ideas if you are looking to go to a retreat or a crop. And if you haven't, there's so much fun. I went to my first one when I was all by myself. I didn't know anyone. I went alone, and I made some of my scrappy best friends that I've still got today, and that was, I think, 2015, yeah, 3 years ago. So look on, I found mine through Facebook, just through different Facebook groups, and I highly recommend trying one out. But yes, that's all I've packed. If you've got any extra recommendations, put them down below. I'm sure there's something I've forgotten. I don't know. I think it's best to write a list and check first, and I will make that checklist and put it over on my Patreon. I'll put the link in the description box down below. It just makes it easier to tick off stuff, because there's things that you use all the time that you just forget about. Like my first retreat, I forgot white cardstock and I forgot my photos. So that was great fun. But I made do, a new friend had a printer there, and I managed to print some off. So that was handy, but it's the little things that you don't realize that you need. Or I quite often will bring, like once I bought paint but no paintbrushes. So luckily there was a shop at the retreat that I went to that time, so I could buy some paintbrushes. But if you forget something, there's always someone who can help you borrow things, or you can work your way around it, but you do need to take something. You can't just go empty-handed. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you want any more information on my Patreon, the link's always in the description below, and there's a video that shows you what you can get at different tiers. And I just want to say hi. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. I do videos every Friday over here, my time, Aussie time, probably not your time if you're not Australian, because I put them up at 7 AM in the morning. And I also do videos every Saturday over on Inkie Quill, and I do 8 videos a month on Patreon. And I have a daily vlog channel called Mr. and Mrs. Rad. I do a lot of videos. I love videos. Thanks for watching today, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye! And now to unpack all of the things and put them where they belong. And tidy up the fort of supplies that are accumulating around my desk. My least favourite part of coming home from a retreat. Alright, guys. Bye. Have fun not unpacking. Got the camera right. It's too short. Okay, let's try. There. Okay. What am I up to? Now it's time for the bags. I'm going to give you a look. No.